All right, I wanted to create a video on what I refer to in my company as a pipeline reconciliation plan. Um, it's basically, I always called it a PRP and I had no clue what it stood for. So I actually texted my buddies shortly before recording this to get a reminder on what it stood for. It's kind of a weird term. Basically, what it is just a workbook to document what you're doing week over week, what you have planned, um, for the next week, and then documenting some of the successes and failures and just history of what's happened in weeks prior. And so it's basically an organized way to um, track meetings, opportunities, your PG plans, your pipeline generation plans, your prospecting plans for the week, week over week, useful links, and then, information with each of your account executives that you're aligned to, and then tracking your activity. I've found that this has been incredibly important. Um, One, to not only keep my brain organized, something that many I've noticed men are bad at, and something women seem to have a much easier time with, but men just tend to be really scatterbrained and do horrible staying organized. And I found that it's incredibly important to stay organized. As a side note, I think that's why you see so many super successful women as SDRs and AEs. They're just super sharp and super on top of everything. And I've found that my most successful account executives are the ones who are keeping good tabs of everything that they're doing and tracking things over time in order to um, have success as as their book of business grows or as, opportunities move along and they're trying to manage many things at once. So, all that to say, this is super important. One more thing I will add is having a successful PRP was pivotal to putting myself in a good spotlight early on in my career. Um, I won't show the screenshots just because, there might be conflict of interest with the fact that I've worked there, but I got tons of shout outs from um, VPs of sales because of emails that I wrote using from the documentation of my PRP. And so having a place to track your successes and then being able to, in a weekly email, send out, hey, this is what I did this week, in a very efficient and organized way is super helpful with giving an impression of you and is actually, I think, one of the main reasons I have promoted um, recently to an account executive role is because of the good visibility I was able to give myself. Um, and you have to do it in a way where it's like a bit of a humble brag. You can't just be like, "Hey, I'm so awesome! Look what I did this week." But like, "Hey," I would phrase it more of like, "Hey, everyone, just wanted to give you an update on what happened this week." And then people will see for themselves your success and then reward you from there verbally and then also through networking, etc. Anyways, just created a tab. You again, I'll include a link for each of you guys as a template to use as you want. You can use it as inspiration. You can completely copy it. I don't care. Um, but what you can basically do is, and you can adjust any of these fields as you see necessary. But I just created, one for discovery meetings, right? Today's the 22nd, so I will say back in November, I had on these two dates, I booked two meetings with, these two different companies. You can create a new one. I booked it through call, LinkedIn, or email. Did they attend the meeting? They skipped the meeting. The title of the person I met with. You can even, paste a LinkedIn link. I like to do that a lot. Notes, next steps, and then a call recording if you have one. Then opportunities, tracking. And I made some made up names here, but like tracking the opportunities in your pipeline, ones that are, you know, are they stalled? Are they in scope or whatever term you use for as deals progress? Are they dead? And then, marking them as they go. Um, Weekly PG plan. This is one of my favorite tabs that I use. And again, it was this tab. It was like this organization that allowed me to be put in a really good light. What you can do is week over week, and I highly recommend, especially as you're starting off, if no one knows your name yet, is wait till you have a really good week. But then, start recording. I had DMs, on 11/17, for example, or whatever. Pick the date and or maybe might be upcoming meetings, and this week would be meetings that happened the week prior. But what you can do is you can literally copy. thankfully um, Google has all these like integrations with itself, and you can literally copy paste it right into there, and it looks all pretty. And then you can just say, weekly recap. Oh, I'm gonna say I would do it on Friday, so that'd be the 24th, 124, and say, hey team, yada 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 yada. Here's this, and then you can also like talk about other things that happened in the week, positives, rooms for improvement, whatever. But having a place where you document, the meetings that you had. I probably wouldn't include this one just because I don't want to include where I booked no meetings for that week. But for that AE. Um, but using this tab to basically track for yourself, the meetings that you had, and then also the spokes you're running for that week, um, is really helpful. So, for example, I might send this out on Friday, the Friday before the 12th, whatever that would be. If the 12th is a Monday, then that'd be the 9th. I might send this out on the 9th and let them know, like, hey, for the week of 1/5, this is what I did. And for the week of 1/12, this is what I planned. These are the meetings we have on the books, and these are where I'm going to go after this week. So if anyone ever asks, hey, who are you hitting up in my accounts this week? Be like, oh, I'm not sure if you saw my email, but I'm hitting up engineers who live in New York City to target them for the local event that we're having. And then, at this account with this AE, you might, whatever it is, Walmart or whatever, you say, oh, I'm hitting up senior engineers with a Gen AI focus so that we can put together a webinar. Boom. And then on Friday, before you head into the weekend, who am I going to hit the ground running on Monday for the week of 1/12? So on Friday 1/9, you send this email out, and boom, for the week of 1/12, you know exactly what meetings you have on the books. Everyone else can see it, and you know exactly who you're going to hit up that week. And it's a way, as a side note too, to get less anxious on Sundays because you already come in with a plan before the weekend starts of who you want to hit up on Monday, and makes it way less stressful. So that's a pro tip. A couple other tabs, just a place to put useful links, things like specific LinkedIn searches you use, performance tracker if you have a company link, like showing, what is your quota going to be, where are you at with your quota, other helpful slide decks, other things of like, oh wait, these are just the notes, these are the links. So, you can add as many links as you want, and then I just created a tab for notes or a column for notes if you want to like create a description for each one of these. These would be actual links, not just like black letters. But I didn't want to give away any proprietary MongoDB information. So yeah, which is the company that I work for. I didn't want to include anything here because I don't want to get in trouble. And then for each of your account executives, I like having a LinkedIn or Excel list of contacts and then additional links. So maybe a running one-on-one document, a PG plan document for each of your account executives. This is super helpful to stay organized. And then if you want to, tracking your own activity week over week. So again, hope this is helpful. I didn't create this. I meant to say there's a girl who no longer works at my company who basically created this and sent it my way. And so that's why it looks so pretty and clean, is because again, women just are better at this kind of thing. And so again, you feel free to use it. And yeah, hope it's helpful. And again, this tab specifically, I don't care if you use this or whatever you do, but make sure if you're having successes, you're putting a spotlight on the successes for those in your ecosystem and people who might want to hire you for the next role. Hope it's helpful.
Do you want to become an account executive faster? Check out my Skool community. You'll get weekly live trainings, Q&A sessions, downloadable resources, accountability to stay on track, and access to a network of SDRs, account executives, and myself for personalized guidance. Go ahead and click the link in the description below to join now and accelerate your career.